All right, so thanks once again for joining today's session on Microsoft Flow and Power Apps with Dynamics NAV. So in today's session, we will get a good insight about these two new products that is recently released by Microsoft and how these two products can really work with Dynamics NAV. So the agenda is as follows. I do understand that you have already, you know, uh, explored these two new products at to an introductory level. So I will not be going in detail about what these products are, but we'll just do a brief introduction. We'll look at the pricing and we'll also look at demo, which is going to be the highlight of today's session.
We don't want to know the pricing for now, so we just want to have the introduction and demo. That's all.
Sure, sure. Okay, I can skip that part. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks.
So let's get started with what these products really are. So just before going into detail, so um, uh, there's Power Apps, and under Power Apps, there are two products, which is again Power Apps and Flow. So both Power Apps and Flow fall under the same umbrella. In the last email, I did tell you that these two products do not integrate with each other, but my bad, I was wrong. They can also, talk to each other. So we'll briefly discuss about that. So let's get started with what really Flow is. So today in an organization, we work with multiple different applications. Many times it is required for these applications to communicate and work very closely. So we wanted to help by introducing Microsoft Flow. Um, it is a solution which helps with business automation challenges, right? And um, with Microsoft Flow, you can integrate the systems you're already using and even custom APIs that you're building. So it helps you integrate and automate processes between different services and systems that you're used to. Um, it is simplified, so you can get started quickly with over 100 useful templates that are already there. Also, designing a flow is very simple. You'll be using a visual designer, which is easy and very simple to understand. So we will of course explore this designer today and also build a brand new flow from the scratch. Um, Also, flow is not always between just two different applications. You can automate advanced scenarios which involves multiple applications with multiple steps, conditions, etc. So that is also possible. It's just not between two different uh, applications or services. So just to summarize what Flow is, Microsoft Flow is a service that allows you to create automated workflows between your favorite applications and services to synchronize files, get notifications, collect data, and do a lot more. So you can visit https ms.flow.microsoft.com to know more. So this is the pricing part. I'm just going to ignore for now, but just want to highlight that there's a free version that you can feel free to sign up and start using. Again, the pricing part is also available in the uh, MS Flow website. So some of the scenarios where Flow can be used is highlighted in this, in this slide. Sometimes just to go through one or two of these scenarios. In case of productivity, you may want to archive email attachments about a particular product in the SharePoint document. So, for example, in your ERP, you want to block a particular item. When you block it, automatically the flow will make sure that your all the emails related to this item are archived, or something like that. So it's between your ERP and SharePoint that we are talking about in case of this one. So if you have leads after after 2 or 3 days, if you want to follow up, Flow will automatically do that for you. And similarly, there are other scenarios that you can see on the screen. So you can explore connections between multiple different services. So let's get started with what Flow is and how it can really interact with Dynamics NAV. Let me make sure. Okay. So to start with, I'm just going to open Microsoft Flow here. I am already logged in, but you can sign up and log in to Microsoft Flow as well. So the first screen will give you a good introduction of what Flow is, what are all the services that Flow can connect between as of now. So here's the complete list that comes up, and of course Dynamics NAV is one of them. Dynamics 365 for financials, which is also based on NAV, is one of them, and of course CRM and AX, which are called Dynamics 365, they're also part of the services. And there are, of course, all these other services that you can communicate between. All right, and there's furthermore that you can see below. These are some of the templates that are like pre-configured. So all you need to do is say, for example, if you choose this particular template, save my email attachments to SharePoint document library. So you choose this template, and then what you have to connect your Outlook and your SharePoint by giving the credentials required, and that's it. Your Flow is set up and running, and Flow will take care of saving your email attachments to SharePoint document library. Similarly, you can choose from the list of templates that are available, and you just need to connect to the services that are part of that template and create the flow to get started. All right, so this is where you get to know what Flow can do. And since I'm already logged in, I can look at all the flows that I am using. So I'll hit on my flows. So I've created some example flows in my scenario, but I've turned them off because in today's session we're going to be creating one from scratch. Apart from that, if you really want to look at the existing templates, you can always go here and browse through the whole list, or you can choose to search for a particular service. So in our case, if we search for NAV, as of now there's only one template, but this is not by Microsoft, and I've tried using this. Maybe I need to contact the creator to understand how the PowerApps was done to use this. If it was by Microsoft, it would be straightforward and simple, but this is not yet. There's nothing by Microsoft as of now. However, if you look at, say, Dynamics 365, so there are many flows. There are some for financials as well. So these two are for financials. So send a push notification when a sales order is created. So in your Dynamics 365, when a new sales order is created on your phone, you will get a notification like a pop-up saying that a new sales order is created. So if you can start that. That's also not by Microsoft, but this seems a little straightforward and should be easy to set up. Also, you can choose to post any new customer that you add in your Dynamics 365 for financials. You may want to post that to Twitter saying, hey, this is a new customer that we have who's working with us from today onwards, or something like that. So that can also be done using these two templates. But of course, you're not just limited to the templates that are there. You can build your own flows. Not only you can build, if you think it's a good idea, you can even submit those flows to this gallery. Like for example, in this case, Isaac has created this particular flow and he has submitted it. And then Microsoft will go through your flow, and if they feel that it's something that's working, they will publish it here. All right, so that's about the templates. And we already saw the services, so the list of services that Flow can really work with. These are the list as of today, and there's a whole bunch of documentation that you can go through to learn more about what Flow is, and also there's pricing info. And on the right hand side, if you have any notification regarding a flow that is set up, I think I already deleted this, but this one had failed, so no problem. And there are also you can see what are all the connections that you have already created. For example, if you create a connection with NAV, that connection will be here. If you've created a connection with your Outlook, though, that connection will be shown here, etc. Whatever services you're connected to are here. All your flows are here. Gateways are in terms of when you're using on-prem data, just like how we saw in Power BI. Even here, you can set up a gateway to make sure that Flow is able to communicate with on-prem, but I haven't explored this as of now, but it should be possible. You can even build custom APIs to use Flow, and there's also admin center. So let's look at the connections. So I had already built a connection to NAV. Here's the connection, but what I can do is I want to delete this because I want to start this from the beginning. Okay, so the others are just Outlook and Office 365 Extra. So Outlook also I can delete for now because I'd like to use that. Okay, let's go to my flow. All the flows that you see here are switched off. I can switch it on. I can edit this flow and then make some changes if I want. And if I want to see how these flow has run, I can go here to see it. So let's create one from scratch and see how this really works. Okay, so before I get started, I'd like to highlight that there are few building blocks of a flow. When you're building a flow, you need to know 4 or 5 things importantly. What are services? Services are source and destination of data in a flow. Like NAV is a service, Outlook is a service, Twitter is a service. So these are all the services. There's also a term called triggers or a trigger. Triggers are events that start the flow. So for example, in NAV, when a sales order is created, you trigger a flow. So that's one example. Thirdly, actions. Actions are what happens by the flow. So these are the tasks accomplished by the flow. So for example, like I said, when a sales order is created, you send an email to the customer. So that's the action. Sending the email is the action part. And maybe sometimes you want to put a condition. For example, if a sales order is created, that's a trigger. You want to put a condition. If the customer is from Singapore, so that's a condition, and then you put an action, that is send an email. So that's a condition, that there's a trigger, there's a condition in between, and then there's an action. And there's also something called loops. loops are for iterating over actions more than once, so it's like a repeat until within nav. Right, so those are loops, but we'll be exploring just the a simple flow today, because flow is fairly a new product, so I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions around it, but I'll try to answer whatever I know. But if you have more questions, I can maybe research and send you some of the useful links to learn more about flow. But we will use I will be able to show you whatever I know as of today. So let's do this. Let's start with building a flow from scratch. So what I'm planning to do is, in nav, when a sales order is released, we can trigger a flow to send an email to the a particular person or a customer, saying that okay, this order that was created has been released and it is ready to be shipped. So that's the whole idea. So we'll have to first see when a sales order is released in nav, and the minute it gets released, it needs to send an email to a particular person or to the customer that it's ready for shipment. So that's what we're going to build now. So we are communicating between Dynamics Nav as well as Outlook in this case. So let's get started. Okay, here is how a flow is created. First, let's give a name. Nav order released sends email, right? So that's the name of the flow. And then we'll start by building the flow. The first thing is what triggers the flow. So search for more triggers, right? So our trigger is from nav when a sales order is released. So first let's search for nav. What happens when a sales order is released? A record is being modified from status open to released, right? So we know that from NAV's perspective. So we need to choose this particular trigger when a record is modified. Then we'll have to tell this flow which record, what has to be modified and all of that. Of course, we'll tell that. So we'll say nav when a record is modified, and we need to create, since there is no connection with nav at all in our connections, we deleted all the nav connection, we need to create that connection here. So the connection name is Dynamics Nav, and we need to give the OData from our web services page. So let's just take OData URL from here and paste it. I'm going to
This
remove
is,
the last part.
this is
And
a connection, is it? You're making connection to the NAV web service, is it?
yes, this is making connection. So once you make this connection, next time when you're building a flow, it won't even ask you all this.
Okay.
You can even connect directly before creating a flow. You can go here, connections, create new connection and keep it ready. So
Mm.
that's also possible. So
Okay.
since there is no connection at all for any nav, it's popping up these options.
So it could be a OData web service, is it?
Yes, it should be a OData. Yeah, it only accepts OData feed URL.
Okay.
So I give my OData URL. I don't specify which web service, right? As of now. So we are just connecting to nav, not specific to any particular web service. And
Okay.
then since
When
it's
you sorry, when you said we can use custom API, correct?
yeah.
We can create any service using this OData, then we can make use of it to create
Y-
connection. Is it?
yes, that's the idea. But honestly, I haven't really tried it. So um, about custom APIs, what I can do is, I've seen that there is a lot of documentation. You can go through that to understand how it really works.
Okay.
I can send that to you because I have no experience in creating custom APIs, so that I really don't know properly. So I can send information on how we can use custom APIs in Flow.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we put the OData feed and then we put the username, that's admin in my case, and the regular nav, whatever I use the password, that password to log into nav. So here I'd like to highlight that in case of nav, we use the user ID and password regularly, like whatever we use to log into nav. But if you're using Dynamics 365 for financials, you need to use the um, web services web service access key instead of the password. So that's the difference that you need to know. So in case of nav, you use the admin and the password that you use to log in, but in case of financials, you need to use this as the password. Okay, so that's one difference that I wanted to highlight. And next, I'm just going to put in the company that we are going to be using. That's the nav company. So in my case, it's Cronus International Limited. So just make sure that this spelling is all right. I think it is in this case. And then I create.
So this one we can only use the nav user password authentication, is it? Can we use
Yes.
Windows authentication? Can
I think in if you want to use Windows, then you need to have a gateway installed, set up.
we?
In
Okay.
that case, you should be able to.
Okay.
Okay, so now that we are connected to nav, if you see here, you'll see that Dynamics Nav it's connected to. If you have created this Dynamics Nav connection before itself, then it won't ask you all that. It'll already know, okay, there's only one Dynamics Nav connection and it'll connect automatically. But if you want to connect to some other nav, you can always say add new connect. So in our case, we have one and we are connected to that. And now from our Dynamics Nav OData feed, it'll try to see what are all the OData services that are available. So if you see, all the published web services in my nav are here, and I am interested in sales order, and I want to see when a sales order is released, I want this trigger, the flow to be triggered. So of course I will choose Dynamics sales order, which is nothing but sales order list in nav. So I'm going to choose this particular web service. Okay, and so there is a trigger of the flow when sales order is modified. So that's important to know. In nav, when sales order is modified, there is a trigger, but we don't want any modification. Say in sales order, even if we modify some other number, we don't want it to trigger. We only want it to trigger when on a particular condition. So we add a condition. Okay, so next step is to add a condition. So what is that condition? um, Under condition, one sec, under condition we need to say that the status is equal to released. Okay, so let me close this. Status is equal to released. Only then we want this flow to be triggered. So here the condition option is available. You can choose the columns from sales order using the dynamic content, and we want to see this field which is status, right? So in our case, we are looking at status, which is from nav, and then I can hide this. No, that was not, think this one. I use status, and that status should be equal to, in our case, not anything else, but is equal to. Here we are not going to choose any dynamic content. We know what that value is going to be, so we'll just type released. Okay, so it's saying that trigger a flow when a sales order is modified, not any regular modification, but only when the status is equal to released. And now the flow will be triggered, but what should the action be? So that is here. So if this condition is met, what should we do? If this is not met, what should we do? So if the status is not released, then do nothing. We just want to keep this as it is. But if yes, we want to add an action. Okay, so here we'll say we want to send an email to the customer or to a particular person. So just search for Outlook. There are services, Outlook related services. Okay, and in Outlook, from Outlook, I want to send an email. So I'll choose that action. So you choose that action, and of course I deleted the connection related to Outlook as well from the connections, because I wanted to create that again here. Okay, so let's I think it's still creating. Let's wait for it to create. Oh, sorry, I just had to press on this. No. Okay, I think it did get connected. I think I had my Office connection already available. So for example, if it's not available, you just need to log into your Office 365 using your user ID and password. So you just need to use another account, put in your admin user ID and password, and then this flow is now connected to um, Office 365 or your Outlook. So in our case, let's just keep it as this one only. As the admin at dyna365.onmicrosoft.com itself. We'll use that account. And here it's now asking me where to send the email address, to email address of the person where you want to send the email to when the flow is triggered, right? So unfortunately, out of the box in sales order, there is no sell to email ID. So if you want, you can do a small customization in your NAV. In your sales order list or sales order list, you can add a column called customer email address, and that would have come here so that you can choose that directly. But unfortunately, there is no email at all in this list for now. So just for testing purpose, I'll just give my Microsoft ID. You can even put a email address directly, or if you have the email address in one of the fields, you can just put that field. Okay, so I'll just put that as my email, and subject is order. I'll choose the order number from the sales order list here. So let's search for the number. Is ready for shipment. Oops. Okay. Okay, so we put that as the subject, and next in the body you can put, for example, dear customer name. So in the sales order we do have sell to customer name, right? So we can find that. So let's say sell to customer name. Okay, comma, and then next line. The order number has been released and it is ready for shipment. Same thing, just to test. Okay, so that's about it. So our flow is ready here. Of course, you can add more steps and do a lot more. But to start with, I think we can test this. So let me just make this all in small. My email address is fine and the content is okay. And then once my flow is ready, my trigger, my condition, my action, everything is set. I'm just going to say create flow. Okay, my flow is done, created, and then I just have to click on done. So when you hit on done, you do get an option to submit your template to the gallery. If you want to contribute, you should be able to, submit here and, give your template for review so that it is available in the gallery for others. However, for now, we'll just go to my flows, and here is our flow. NAV order release sends email, which was created 31 seconds and it's on. When you create it, it's on by default. If you want to make any changes, you can go to edit and the same designer will open and you should be able to edit it. But here's where you'll see if it was run, if there were any runs. So if you see here, there are filters. So you choose this check successes and failures. So already Flow has checked NAV twice and both the times it did not see any sales orders being released. So it has skipped it. Okay. Now let's go to NAV and release a sales order. So I'm just going to take a sales order that's already created. Okay, here's a sales order for Lovenia Contractors and it's open. So instead of creating it from scratch, I've just picked a sales order that was there and all I'm going to do is release this sales order. So it gets released. The status is now released. Now let's go to our flow, go back and try to see if something has happened. We may have to wait for a minute. Yeah, there you go. So it succeeded already. 4 seconds back, it succeeded. So it should have triggered an email, right? So now I will go to the local, the Outlook. I'm in sent items. I just want to see if an email was sent. This was the Outlook connection that we used. So from this account, it has already sent an email to that email address, that is shashi@microsoft.com. Order 101020 is ready for shipment and dear customer's name. The order has been released and it's ready for shipment. So if you want to also see this email on my, here is the email that has come in to my other email address. That's my Microsoft email address. So that's flow, which just got triggered when a sales order was released within NAV. Alright, so this now flow will keep triggering every time and it will check if there are any releases and it will send an email. So that's what a flow is all about and that's how we can use this with NAV. And I think other than that, yeah, there's just an option to delete it here. If you don't want to use it anymore, you can delete it right here. All right, so that's about flow. There's a lot of documentation available right here. So if you want to get more knowledge on how flow works, feel free to explore.
Okay,
And
I have some question.
sure.
Just this nav record created and modified trigger, correct? Is these two are building trigger or we can create our own trigger?
I think for now, whatever they have, is the only way, only triggers that you can use.
Hmm.
There's only one for creation and modification. But this is really very, very new product. So they are improving it every day. I'm sure they will come up with ways where we can add our triggers and actions also. But I think as of now, we are limited.
Hmm.
Yeah, even Power BI, if you saw like 6 months to 8 9 months back, it was very, very high level. But now the amount of functionalities that have come in, it's too much. So similarly, the same team is working on Flow and Power Apps also. So it's evolving. So we just have to wait.
Okay, so as of now, we can only use the building service and trigger what we have.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So that's about Flow. Now let's move to the other product, which is Power Apps. So let me just close this and this as well and go back to my PPT here. So we saw this demo. Um, Next, let's start with understanding what Power Apps is. So this is another product that was released along with Flow. Let me tell you why this particular product was really released. Um, so the demand for mobile apps is growing 5 x times faster than IT departments can even deliver as of today. Um, Microsoft Power Apps will help power users to build and deploy business apps easily on their own. So that's the idea where people who used to know Excel inside out and who used Excel, it's going to be really easy for such people to even build an application on their mobile and tablet today using this Power Apps. So Power Apps, one sec. So Power App is a collection of software services and apps that will work together to fundamentally transform and accelerate how you build and share custom line of business applications. Power App again connects to cloud services and data sources you're already using. Just like how we saw Flow can connect to multiple services, even Power Apps will be able to connect to multiple cloud services and data sources. And it will give you the ability to quickly build apps that suit specific needs, building on skills you already have. Like, for example, a lot of people are already Excel users, right? They know how to use the formulas in Excel. So similar, those skill sets will come in handy even for Power Apps. So you can once these apps are created, you can share these apps instantly with your coworkers across web, tablets, and mobile devices. Power Apps also integrates with Flow, the flow that we just saw. So it makes it possible to trigger a workflow from within the Power Apps. So in Power App, you push a button, it'll trigger a flow, and maybe it'll send an update in Twitter or in Yammer, or send an email, or do many other things. So Power App can be simple and fast, capable of producing an app in minutes that pulls in data from your desired data source. So let's look at three main components of Power Apps. All right, so you connect to the first step is that you connect to your existing system and data sources. For example, in today's demo, we're going to be connecting Power Apps to NAV. And then the second step is you build a app, or you build a form and workflow without even writing code. So we are in today's demo again, we'll be connecting to NAV and we'll build a simple app on the data that is coming from NAV. And thirdly, you will be able to publish these apps instantly for mobile and web. So we'll see how that works. So this is the Power Apps designer we will be looking at. I think going through the demo is um, will be better for you to understand. So we will see that in a bit. So let's look at what Power Apps is and explore how we can build apps using Power Apps. So let me go back into my VM where nav is, and I'll open the website called powerapps.microsoft.com. Alright, so again, similar to Flow, the landing page has a lot of introduction about Power Apps, what it can do, um, and you can connect to a lot of services just like Flow and Power BI, for example. So just like them, you can connect to a lot of data services, and you can instantly publish these apps, and there are example apps that you can refer, um, and things like that. So there's a lot to explore here, and there's a lot of documentation, guided learning, community where you can get support. If you want help from another partner, you can find partners related to Power Apps itself, so you can look for details around that. You can even become a partner. Power Apps blog, and of course there's pricing. So when it comes to Power Apps, there is no free version like in Flow, but you get a free trial period which you can use. So that is available in Power Apps. So you can sign up. If you're new, I'm going to sign in with the same credentials. So these are a couple of apps that I have created before, you know, when I was learning what it is. And if you go into apps, you'll see the same. I think there are also sample apps that you can explore if you just filter. All these are sample apps, so you should be able to look at these and come up with ideas to create your own apps. Connections are again similar to Flow. There are different sources that you can connect to. So I have used connection to common data service in this case, and of course Dynamics 365 for financials, NAV, and you know a few others. So let me just delete this for now so that we can create that again. I think I just need to click here and click on delete. I'm deleting the connection to nav because I want to recreate it again. So this sometimes okay, it did disappear, not bad. So you can even see the flows that you have created under Power Apps. Like I said, Power App, under Power Apps umbrella, you'll have apps as well as flows. So these are this is one of the app flow, but you can click here to see all of the flows if you want to, but for now it's fine. Gateways are again if you're trying to connect to on-prem data, and if you want to use your Windows authentication, you should be able to install a gateway and access the on-prem data source. If there are any notifications about your apps, you'll find that here. Okay, so for now, let's see how we can get started with apps. On the right hand side, there's also a download button. So Power Apps is something that once you have your apps, you should be able to, of course, use them on your phones, right? So all you need to do is you need to install one app that's already available on Google Play Store, App Store, and Microsoft Store called PowerApps. So all your apps will be available in that app. So for example, if I download Power Apps on my phone, I'll be able to access both these apps that I already have. So what are these apps? We'll see. We'll open them and see how they look, and or we'll create one from scratch. So what I am going to do is I am going to say I want to create a new app. Okay. So for creating a new app, there are two options to create. One is Power App Studio for Windows. So this is similar to Power BI desktop tool, where you have a local installation of Power Apps, and it's, I think for me, at least it's much easier to use, and it's quicker. So I have already installed this. If you click on it, it'll actually open it'll open another link where you can download um, Power Apps. But the limitation is that the system requirements, it should be Windows 10, 8.1 or 10 mobile, but it cannot be Windows Server. So I'm currently on Windows Server, so it's fine. Or you can even build an app from Power App Studio for web. So this will actually open in the web browser itself. Okay, so at least as of now, I think performance wise, it's better to use the Power Apps for Windows. So you download that and install it. This always has some or the other issue since it's a new product. So let's close that. And I have already downloaded Power Apps for Windows on my local machine, which is Windows 10. So I'm just going to open that and use this to create my app. So this local installation is already connected to the Power Apps online. So that connection has already happened. So whatever I create here and save is also saved in my Power Apps online. Okay, so if you look here, you can see that it's admin@dyna365.onmicrosoft.com, the same account I've used here in the browser. Okay, so I've downloaded this particular application, and I'm going to use this to create a new app. So let's hit on new, and here create an app in Microsoft. So you can choose the data source from where you want to create an app. So we don't see NAV here, so just click on this, and here also it's just showing the existing connections that we have. We have deleted NAV, so we need to create a new connection. So let's say new and hit on Dynamics NAV, and let's put in the OData URL of NAV. So NAV is in my virtual machine. Okay, I think I just need to do this. Okay, so here's my NAV. Let's pick the web service address, copy cell, and paste this here. Okay, and here also I'm going to remove the service name, and also it's actually HTTP. It should be HTTP, not HTTPS. I've not set up the SSL, so HTTP is good. And I'm going to put in the username and password, the regular password that you use to log into NAV, even in this case, and the company name. And connect. So we have this new connection now. it gets connected and it'll see this default data set. Choose that default data set, and under that default data set it will list down all the web services that are published from NAV. So for this app, what I'm planning to do is I'm going to list out all the items in my app. So say for example your NAV salesperson is somewhere at the customer site, and he wants to look at a particular product and see if there's inventory available so that he can sell it. Okay, so this is a simple app that we are building with list of items and the available inventory and the unit price. So let's choose item. No, sorry, item list is the one that has the list. Item is the item card. So I have published items page as item list. So let's choose item list and connect. So when you connect, depending on the data that we are trying to connect, PowerApps will try to create an app for you by itself. So it's actually creating an app for you already. So it'll see the data and assume that it can create something based on that. So it creates this app with some random fields from item list. So it's some of the fields that it has taken up from our item list, and there are 3 pages or 3 sheets. Sorry, it's 3 screens in our app. So there can be more screens. We just need to create connections between screens and all that. So let's see what this app really is. Okay, so this is item list, and it has taken random fields. So let's change that. So click on a field and it will open the content part where whatever you've clicked on is highlighted. So this field, we do not want it to be the costing method. So it has just taken, alphabetical order from item list, the first 4 fields, but we want the first field to be, say, item number. So in our item list, it's going to be called number. So just choose that. And similarly, under this, there is one blank, there's a blank, text box. So I can click on that and choose description of the item. Okay, so that's the description. So the only in the first part, it's like the designer, and everything else is like blurred for now. And below that there's another this thing here. I want to put the inventory that's available. So you choose the inventory here, and maybe you want to put the inventory on the right hand side. So just resize the text box just like you do it in Word or something. And under this there's also one more field, which is pieces. Maybe you want to put the pieces on the right hand side under. Keep it as it is, but put it under here. So we'll align that and all in some time. So I may also want to put the unit price of the item. So under the inventory, I'll go to insert, I'll say text box. So there's this new text box that comes up. Oh, did it change everything? Oh, sorry, that's not the one. This is the new I'm just undoing everything. I just pressed on Control Z to undo. Let me just insert a new text box. Okay, the text box is here. I think previously it just got a little mixed up. and paste it here on the right side, at the same level as this one. And this is a text box where it's assuming that you just want to put in some text, but you want to get data from the underlying data source, right? So all of these fields, if you see, has text number, has text description, which is coming from item list. This is base unit of measure. This is inventory. So similarly, this one has to be unit price. I think this item, no, hold on. I think we need to even fix the data source. So if I choose a particular the existing text box and see the data source, maybe I'll know where it's coming from. So these are all the properties for this particular um, text box. So I just need to see if there's something called data source for these. Okay, I no. So there's something that's telling these four text boxes that it's coming from a particular data source. So let me just quickly try to find that.
You are trying to link the new text box to one of the field, is it?
Yeah, to the underlying data source, which is item list. So all of these are actually able to recognize and get data from the item or data, but except for this new text box. So I think this whole box maybe will have a data source somewhere.
Suppose here to be able to the option where to be able to link the data source. Data option.
Okay, here are all the options for each and every properties for each and every. So I'll just look for description if there's anything related to item list.
You need to choose the text box and data sources on top.
Is there?
Choose the data sources, yes. Then options, then
No, that opens this tab, and then you can add more data source. That's all. And maybe no. So this, when I hit on data source, it actually opens up this data source tab. If you want to add another data source for this app, you can add. But I want to know how I can add for this text box, this underlying data source. So if I just copy this, I'm just copying this and pasting it below. So see, this one is also a text box, but this has. So this one came up now, and I can just choose unit price. I can remove this text box. So I need to figure how I can use a new text box, but yeah, I can use an existing um, text box and use it for now.
okay.
Okay, so that's the unit price. So let's, this obviously looks all messy, so there are properties where you can align them and change the font and color and everything. So this one, let's keep this small. So this is the item number. So you go to advanced, all the properties are available. You can even search for a property. So let's say font, search for font, and it's normal, and the font is this one. So I want to see the size. Size is 27. Let's just make it 20. I want the number to be small. And under that, let's put the item name. And maybe if it's a big item with a big name, let's make that text box a little bigger so that it wraps around. And under that, on the left hand side, there's pieces. That's the unit of measure. So advanced, here I'll say it's alignment. It's related to alignment that I want to change. So I'll say align, and it's aligned to the left right now, so I'm just going to change it to left. So this gets aligned to the left, and similarly this quantity can also get aligned to right. And this is the unit price, so I'll just also move this quantity a little higher. And I think this is already aligned to the right. I just need to adjust this text box and maybe change the color to match this one. So this one's color is now I think black. So if you choose color, you can see that it's black. I can just copy. So the coloring is done through RGBA code. So I'm just going to copy this. I've copied it, and I'm just going to put the same color for the next text box. So I'll choose the text box, I'll say color, I'll replace whatever's there for this with the black one, what I got from above. So this is our app, which is giving us 5 information here. So this is the first page always, where you can browse through multiple items all at once. So it's like our item list, right? So there's a list of items. So there's also this next arrow button. So since this app just got created by itself, it's important to note that this arrow has a formula on select. That means when you click on it, it's going to navigate to a detail screen, and the screen names are right here above below the screen. So this is browse screen, where you're browsing multiple items, and then from browse screen, when you hit on this, it will go to detail screen, which is the second screen, detail screen 1. And the transition is none. So there are different types. You can transition from one screen to another, so that is none. So that's the formula on top of this particular button. And a screen name can be seen here also. You can rename it however you want. So just click outside and go to home, and you'll see the screen name here. So you click on it and you can choose this, rename it to whatever first screen, second screen, or whatever you want. You can rename it. For now, I'll leave it as it is. So this is screen 1, and when you hit on this particular next arrow button, it will go to screen 2. So these buttons are available under insert. There are icons. You can choose the different icons that you want from here. So the next icon is automatically used by this app, but you can choose from various different icons, and on that button you just have to say what it needs to do when you select that button. So it will go to the next screen. So what is this next screen? So whatever item you select and click on next screen, it will open more details about that item. So here also the app has used by default some random random fields, but what you can do is you can change it. So select a particular field here, go to option, and in this particular screen it will show which are all the fields that it is showing. So it's again in alphabetical order. First is the primary key and then all in alphabetical order. So you can remove or hide and unhide by using these buttons. So I don't want assembly BOM, I don't want assembly policy, I'm just removing all those fields. Now base unit of measure I wanted, but I just clicked on it. So let's keep number and let's put description below that. So you go down and you'll see all the other fields from that data source. So I'll put description. So description is now available, and maybe base unit of measure next to that, and see if an item is blocked or not. So Boolean will be represented in this fashion, like how we know in phones you have that switch off and on button, so that is used. Let's go and see, we can add inventory. So it just takes some time to refresh here and come in order, but you can go ahead and add whatever you want from the list of fields, and unit price for example. So of course you're free to add more if you need more fields to be shown for a particular item. So for now I'll just leave it as it is. Okay, so from here to here, so the third screen is actually used for creating a new item. When it comes to creating a new item and then sending that new item to NAV, it's not really that straightforward. So honestly, I am currently exploring how this can be done. So as of now, there are no documentations or anything on such things, because in NAV it's not a direct insert. In NAV we want the number to be auto generated, right? So that's where the challenge is. So for now I'm just going to delete this third screen because I don't want it. We are just looking at this app in terms of uh, where you just see the item list and see the inventory and unit price for the salespeople. So once I remove that screen, there's a button, there's this yellow warning sign everywhere. So that means that something, there is a reference to the third screen that we just deleted. So we just need to correct that. So here the plus button is to create a new item, so that automatically has come up, but we do not want that. So you can just delete that button. This whole button I don't want, because we are not creating new items. So once I delete that, the remaining buttons actually go to the right hand side, left hand side and sit. You just need to rearrange them in a proper manner. Okay, that's item list. And here also there's edit option, which we are again not editing. This is only a read option, so we'll delete the edit button. Move, even the delete button we'll be removing. We just need the back button. Okay, so we can just call this item details, because there are more details in this screen. All right, so this is item list. So now there are wherever there is a button, like for example this was a button which will go to the other screen, this is another button. So all these buttons will have some or the other you know formula that you need to look at. So for example, on select is the property that you need. So when you select this button, what happens is specified in the formula. So select this and look at the formula that is there. So this particular button refreshes the item list. Item list is our data source. Okay, so it refreshes the whole item set. If there's a new item, it'll just bring in that, or if something is deleted, it'll just refresh it to the latest data from NAV. And this is a sorting option. So it'll just sort depending on, if it is sorted in ascending order, it'll just change it to the reverse order, uh, depending on whatever is there currently. And also search items is one important thing that we need to know. So choose this search item, um, and here for search item, the first thing is to know what the text box name is. So it's text search box 1. Okay, so whatever you type in this, it needs to search for that item and come in, right? So it just needs to filter depending on what you type here, and it needs to look at the name of the item in our case. But when this app got created initially by itself, it doesn't know which is the description, item description, what is what. So it would have created depending on some random field again. So you select the browsing gallery. So in the center, when you click, it's the browsing gallery, and the name is browse gallery 1 for this browsing gallery. And here, what are the things that are shown? Items. So there's a property called items somewhere. I think I just need to find it outside. Okay, so I just select this first part, that's the designing part. And here I think I should see items. Yeah, it's right here. So items. Okay, so it's browsing galleries, first part you choose, and that's when it'll know you're designing something. And then there's a property called items. So this is actually telling where the data that is shown on the app is coming from. So here it has, there is this formula that the app has created for us by default. So if you see, there is the sort by column. Um, so it's telling how to sort depending on what's chosen. But the important thing is search. Okay, so search, what it's doing is searching the item list, and the next one is whatever you type in the search text box, that is text search box dot text, and it's actually searching our text in all these 5 columns or fields that it got picked up initially by default. And we do not want to search in these fields, but we want to search in, delete that part, and we want to search in description. So just search DES and it will find the description. Okay, so that we want to search whatever we type in the search box in description. And also the sorting is done on number or name, whatever number or the description. So we'll choose the sorting depending on item number. So let's just search for number here. Yeah, NO. So the sorting is done on number, the searching is done on description, and then there's this standard, ascending and descending depending on what you've chosen here, sort option. Okay, so now our app is almost final. Um, and there are just to show you what more you can do in this Power Apps. If your app has multiple screens, you can add more screens by clicking on new screen. Every screen has a name which you can rename here. The current screen is browse screen 1, the second screen is detail screen. There are different layouts that you can choose from. This is one layout. Let me change the layout and show it to you. So I choose another layout. Unfortunately, I think the fields also got changed, which shouldn't have, but let me go back to my Fields get changed with layout, so let me undo twice. I think that will be fine. So there are different layouts that you can choose. You can even choose different themes, so you can make it, choose the color whatever you like from the theme. So let's choose this one. I don't know why. Okay, I think this one, this is the unit price which has black, so that's why it's invisible. And all the other fields just automatically got changed as per the theme except this one. So let's just change the color of this. So let's copy that from here. For 32 it's white, and for this also we want it to be white, and there you go. So that's the price. And of course, for a particular field, you can change some of the properties right here, like in Excel or in Word. You can put a background if you like. For example, let's try to put a background for this. That's the price. So you can highlight something, and yeah, under insert also you'll see, text boxes. If you want to add buttons, you can add a button, and on the on select property of the button you write a formula to tell the button what it needs to do. And if you want to put different text controls and yes or no controls, if you want to add a picture, if you want to add more forms, etc. So these are all little advanced. There are even charts in media that you can use. And you'll have access to different data sources that you're connected to here. And like I said, there's also flow that can interact with PowerApps. So maybe, for example, in PowerApps, when we create a new item, the flow should be able to create a new item in NAV or something like that. So they're all they can be interactive, or these two products can communicate. But like I said, I am also exploring this. There is no much documentation for me to tell you already, but if I do achieve to do this, I can write about it and send it to you. And that's about it. So our app is ready now. Let me go back. Before you save this app, you can just preview this app and see how, if it's working as per your expectation. So just run this app. Okay, so and then I'm just going to use my touch screen to scroll. So these are all the different items. Okay, and let's say I'm interested in rim. No, there's the unit price is no. Okay, let's say I'm interested in front wheel. There is 152 available and 1000 rupees or whatever, 1000 USD. I'll hit on that next button and it will open the next screen for me. You can add more fields. Like I said, if I want to know something more about this item, you can add all those fields here, and I can go back to my main screen by clicking on the back button. So now it's filtered on number in ascending order. So let's sort it otherwise. So I sorted it, and it should change to the other side, to the descending order, because I clicked on this, and then I can sort it, click on it again to sort it back to ascending order. Refresh will only show me, if there's a new item, it will show me that one also. There's nothing now, so I'll leave that. So let's try the search button. So let's say all the items with name wheel in it, and click on enter. There you go. So it'll search for item description, and search for these keywords and get it up here. So I think it is case sensitive. So let's see, wheel. No, I think it's not sure why this wheel didn't come. And enter. Okay, there you go. I think it's case sensitive. First time I used a lowercase w, This time I've used uppercase, but I'm sure there is a formula which will tell the app that do not care about the case. So that can also be done, but by default it is case sensitive. Okay, so I remove that and hit on enter, and it should be back to normal um, app with all the items. So that's about creating an app. And now that your app is created and you tested it, you can go to file and save it. So you give a name for this app, item list new, and you can even provide an icon so that imagine the end users are actually installing PowerApps app on their phone, and they will find this app there first. So you can you know choose from the list of things here. Yeah, anything. I'll You can even give a description and then hit on save, and it will be saved as item list new, and save. So once you save on your phone in your PowerApps app, you will find this new app also in the name of item list new. You just hit on that on that tile, and it will open the entire item list. So that is something that you need to imagine now, because I don't have the simulator to show how it works on the phone. So that gets saved. Now you can go back to your Power Apps online, and let me refresh here. Let's go to apps. So since that got saved, let me filter to all apps. Okay, where's my app? It should have come here. I think it'll take some time to show in here. Let's see if the connections got updated to NAV. So that's our connection, which is fine. Well, I think it's just going to take some time to update in the Power Apps online site. Okay, so it should have ideally come here. I think it's going to come in some time, and once it does come, you can manage your app here. Like for example, you can see the details of an app. If you want to share it with other colleagues, you can do so that they can access your app on Power Apps app on their phone. If there are modifications, you can manage different versions of the app. Okay, and right there you are able to even edit an app. You should be able to, whatever we created in the Power Apps Windows application, there's also web application that I said. So you should be able to do all of that even in the web. Just that as of now, since it's new, the performance is much better in the Windows one. So other than that, you can even delete an app right here, etc. So this app should have come here by now, but I don't know why it's taking quite some time. Let's see for one last time. Okay, there you go. So the app just got uploaded, and here it is. So you should be able to share it and you know help your colleagues use it and things like that. So that's about Power Apps, and I would really recommend you using this and also using the Power Apps application on your phone to see how it really works on the phone. That's like the real-time experience. So I think the session got over quite early for since we skipped few things. So any questions on Power Apps or Flow, feel free to let me know.
Okay, the power apps we can create a trigger to connect with flow, is it? But you don't have a documentation and the
Sorry,
schedule.
your voice is not.
No, you mentioned that we can trigger the power apps with the flow.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it's possible, but you don't have a documentation.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it is possible. I see some functions which should be able to do that, but we are just waiting for documentation on that.
Oh, okay. Okay, you just please share to us once you get the
Yes,
documentation.
definitely. I will make a note of that in my OneNote so that whenever it's available, I'll send you an email on that.
Yeah, we are also looking for the option. I mean, how to make use of the camera and attachment, the barcode scanning on that, but we can't find any documentation for
Exactly.
that.
Yeah, yeah. So we are also waiting for the documentation from the product team. So once
Okay,
they release it, I will definitely share it with you.
okay, okay.
Okay, so any other questions?
I think that's all.
Okay, great. So, also, Arul, regarding the other two
Mm,
sessions on extensions and upgrade,
mm,
I think, unfortunately, for now, the resources are heavily held up. So,
okay.
it should be fine if they are able to deliver it, after a month or so, right?
Mm, possible on January. Is it
I
possible?
think so because as of now, they are held up with lot of different engagements. So that's what
Okay,
I heard from them. So that's why we haven't received any response on that.
okay,
So I will follow up. The
okay,
best possible time. I know it will be only in Jan or after Jan, but I'll ask them to let you know so that you will know in advance.
okay, sure.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay, then thank you so much for your time, and I hope the session was helpful. Feel
yeah.
free to write to me if you have any questions, and I can help you with that.
Okay.
Okay,
Also, please
thanks.
send us the recording.
Sure, definitely, I will do that. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Okay, bye.